Thank you for coming or attending this go-to meeting. Just to let you know, if you can hang around, I believe there's going to be some talk on retirement benefits. Retiree benefits. So if you can hang out after the go-to meeting is done with the Hyperion part. Also, today we are planning on just doing a bird's eye view of what we've got in Hyperion. So what Dan is going to talk about first is just the Hyperion planning, just give a few minutes on the talk on that, and then going to walk us through the system navigation, specifically my task list. And then he's going to talk about a little bit about revenue, expenses, and then he's going to show us adding new positions into the Hyperion system. So with that, go ahead, Dan, take it away.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Dan Salas. I see all of the same familiar names. With us today, my partner in crime, Santosh Kumar. He's here working on our interface. We also, I see on the names here on the list, we have Keith Butler. Of course, we got Leah, Michael Robbins. There's Olivia, and there's Pam, Terry Byrne, and then there's David McAdams. Hello, everyone.
Also Gina and I believe Alex from the county office.
Okay. All right. All right. So today, as Leah said, we will do a walkthrough of where we are. We are about 80% through the build process. Hopefully, we will get to close to 100% by next week, middle of next week. We will begin our basic unit testing, so we're going to be writing out some scripts for that. So it's important to note that this is development. So we have built this environment about two weeks ago, completed it, and then loaded all of the data that we have from the previous demo, and then modified that based on all of our JAD session discussions. So we're still, if you will, sorting out through the system and debugging it as we go. So as we go through the process, don't be surprised if we run into a little hiccup if the system decides to take a break or take a nap. We'll have to go and deal with that as we go. Hopefully not. It's been working pretty good this morning. So also, let's see what else. I will show you, we'll kind of go over the templates that was sent out from a couple of weeks ago. There's two sets of templates. One is a user list, which will allow you to provide us the names of the users and their functional roles in the process. That would allow us, the information we need so we can get that built out for go live. The second one is a template of that sets the defaults for new positions. So when you budget for new positions, this will give you the salary, the benefits, and additional pay and taxes and so on. And any default chart string combinations, such as object codes and fund and so on, as well as allocations. If you want to split fund as a default, if you want to do a 80-20 split between two different funds going forward as your default, we can do that. So as I do the demo for positions, I will kind of walk through that and show you what you put in the spreadsheet and how that would be used by the system as you add positions. Okay, before we begin, do we have any quick questions? Okay, great. So the next thing is what I want to do quickly is, and I don't want to spend too much time, but kind of review with you. When we started this process, we talked about what is your current state budgeting process. We went over that, and then before we started our JAD session, our joint activity design sessions, we came up with our future state process based on your needs as well as how the system functions. And here, in this process, I've actually shown this to you before. The process starts with, at the coordinator and administrator level, where data is pulled from your source system, which is PeopleSoft. That means your chart of accounts data, your actuals, your history, and your HR data, your positions, employees, the full-time equivalent counts, your benefits, and so on, will be pulled into the system. And also, users will need to be set up and grouped accordingly based on their functional roles. Um, Also, the coordinator would be seeding the budget to establish what we call baseline budget. So your baseline budget would be typically would be your previous prior year budget or a revised budget or your actuals data. So depending on what your preference is from your district, then that can be done on a district level. Now, once that is available, then and the system is made available to the planners or the budget preparers, you will have two areas that you'll be working at. There's two databases. One is your position budgeting, where the existing positions and new positions will be housed, and then that would roll up into your budget line item database. That would have your revenue and expenses, and from there, you can do reports for your fund balances and so on. So all of that work is going to get edited here by the planner, and then that would, or the budget preparer, which would then promote their budget to the reviewer, and you can create multiple people to be incorporated into to review the budget by site. So site is going to be our planning unit, and so you'll have an iteration here that would go on until they approve it, and then eventually it gets passed and it's adopted and sent to the PeopleSoft system. And then from the PeopleSoft system, it's going to be loaded to your SAC system. Okay? Any questions there? So today we're going to be focused in this area right here, which is really the preparation stage of the budget. And also we'll talk about some administrative tasks to give you an idea what the budget coordinator and district administrator would be working on. And then the basic tasks that would be available as a preparer and also reviewer, and the types of reporting and what they might look like as for go live. So, so let's talk about, let's see what else. Yeah, navigation. So when you log in the system, you, depending on your role, the roles would be, um, you would be either a preparer and a reviewer. So you will have a set of tasks there. You could be a coordinator, um, district administrator, and also an analyst or a read-only type of user. Okay, so as I'm logged in right now as administrator, so I see everything. But as a preparer, when you first log in, you would see a blank page, and then you would um, the first thing that you would do as a preparer is to change your preferences. So you would go into File, Preferences, and you would establish certain defaults, such as your email, the email address that you want to be notified, if you want notification turned on. Okay, let me cancel out of here. Anyway, so there's going to be certain defaults. You'll have instructions for this as part of your training. So, and again, this is a demo. We're not doing training right today, so I'm trying to walk you through in a short time most of the key functionalities that you would be using. Okay, so here is our home page. To navigate to go to your district, you would go to Navigation, Application, and then here, depending on how many districts you would have access to, you would just see a list. Now, I'm the administrator, so I see everything. So as you can see, these are our group ones. Uh, as you can see there, you should see your particular district. Today, I'm going to use 99A. So in 99A, I will actually I have two here that's set up. I'm going to close one. I don't have too many that's open. So as a preparer, I will not see forms in manage task list. This is for administrators. But what I would see is this my task list on the left side, the left pane. On the my task list, you will be presented with folders on the left, and then those folders, when you see pluses, you'll see subfolders, and then you see files. So it's kind of like an outline list of tasks that I will be working with. Okay, so think of this as in your Microsoft Office, your to-do list. This is kind of a to-do based type of system. Each one of these items you can check off as done. Each time you complete one task, this pie chart will change until it's 100% when you're complete. So that's kind of how you can gauge where you are in the process. Now I'm going to open up the budget, prepare and review. So again, I'm seeing all the list. So it's not going to be quite this extensive for you when you do log in. So I went ahead and collapsed the left pane to give us the full screen. There's also ways to collapse the top part by clicking on that top arrow there. Okay. So okay, let me go maximize my screen again. Okay. All right, and also let's see. So here it's the presentation here is using pie charts for the task. Each of the items here that you see would it's going to be arranged in some sequential order that we have prearranged for you to hopefully that would make sense in the process. So you have a folder here that says manage budget line items as a preparer, and up here it says prepare and reviewer. They share the same list, task list. And of course, it makes sense to have instructions. So we will ask the coordinator in your district to maintain this list, and also include any pertinent instructions for your district. All of these steps are going to be fairly self-explanatory. Hopefully, it says enter budgets. Um, Here you can see that we can put in start dates, end dates, alert dates, instructions. So here we have some brief instructions um, um, that you hopefully would be useful in letting you, reminding you on what the next task would be. Okay. Here I'm going to now navigate and enter an amount, go into a revenue budget. So this form is multi-purpose. It's got items here at the top. It's called the point of view. And what you should see here are a list of in this case, it's S's site. So this is a site list. So I should be able to scroll down and see only the sites that's pertinent to your district. So this is going to be district specific. The next field is the fund field. It's signified by the letter F, or prefixed by the letter F. This is goal. Location or operating unit is the L. U is function. It's a 4-digit number. Of course, your project here is up above, and your reference.
That would be resource.
Sorry, resource. Thank you. Of course, you have your object code. It's called account in Hyperion. That's how they deliver it. So and it's a key dimension. So we're going to keep it as account. But this is your object code. And the way we have it displayed is it's showing the actual code as well as the description. Uh, in our JAD discussions in the past, we said that we wanted to be able to do multi-year budgeting. In this case, the current year FY14 is going to be called estimated actuals, and then the budget year of FY15 is budget and then plus 2 more years out. Okay, the uh, the grid is fairly self-explanatory. It's where you see the white cells would be enterable. If it's gray, it's read-only. If I were to enter an amount, so on, should turn color or the yellow. Yellow it signifies that data has been entered. I'm going to just undo this. Okay. I collapsed my save button, so I'm going to have to uncollapse this. Sorry. Okay, save it. Go to full screen. These forms can be rearranged if we need to, but for our unit testing, this is what we're going to use for testing purposes. If during the testing we determine that we need to make some additional roll-ups or enhancements to the way the form is presented, we can make those changes as well. We have a simple form. It says total revenues at the bottom. Um, Now, this is for revenues, and also the way we can do this is we could make it so that only cells that have data would appear and hide all the blank cells. So we have, let's see in my list here. For example, here I got the expense form. This one is going to suppress. I have suppressed rows that are blank. So here, as you can see, I have all of my various accounts, my object codes for salaries, benefits, and so on are presented. Another thing that's interesting with this system is we have Smart View, and Smart View is the tool that leverages Excel and Microsoft Office. And so in this particular case, I'll show you that we can very quickly take this form and send it to Excel. So I have a button right here. It says Open in Smart View. So if I click on that, hopefully this is going to work for me. It was working fine earlier. So there we go. All right, so what we have now is Excel, and we know it's Smart View because up at the top it says Smart View and Planning. So we have a spreadsheet that's now connected to that same database, to that particular area of the budget, in this case expenses, and you'll see that I have all the same basic functionality. I can go in here and change to whatever site I want to update, and this would be only based on what sites have been set up to enter budgets to. Okay, see, I've given myself access to everything, so I got access. Also, this is Excel, so you could manipulate it. You could change. You could, for instance, change dollar amounts in here. Okay, and then submit it. And as you can see, it turned yellow, and once I submit it, it goes back to white. So that means it just brought that in, and it's now available. So if I were to log in back to our system and then hit refresh.
Dan, this is Pam. I have a quick question. When you were
Sure.
showing the export to Excel, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like with the account number that and the descriptions that
Mm-hmm.
it's into one column. So
Mm-hmm.
it would have to be parsed each time if you wanted to sort.
Good question. Let me show you that. Let's see, where am I at here? Okay. You can present this. Well, so let me walk through that script because I don't want to get off track. The way I would do this is right now. Currently, I'm logged in Excel and SmartView, viewing that same form that you saw in the application. Okay. Um, if I want to play around with this and do more analysis, I could click on this Analyze button right here, and that would turn this form into an ad hoc type analysis form. So if I do that, it's going to create a new sheet. Notice it's now sheet 11 here. The original one was called Expense Budget 3. Um, Now the point of view is now over here, right? So now at this point, this is Excel, so I could manipulate the colors. I can change my format. Okay, if I want to, I can, now I can also change. Currently, I'm looking at the alias or the description. If I want to only remove the descriptions, then I can quickly take it out just like that.
Okay, that's great.
Okay. Also, let's say I like descriptions. I'm gonna push it back. So go back to here. So okay. So now we're here. So let's say I want to rearrange this report or this spreadsheet, and I want to show funds over here because I have multiple funds. So I can just grab, it says general fund. I can grab it here and then just take it. Oops, sorry, I'm putting it in the wrong. Let me go up here first, push it up at the top, and fund.
Hey, Dan,
Yeah.
David McAdams here.
Yes, David.
Once you update SmartView, when you say submit, does that mean that the form back in Hyperion itself is updated to those values?
Yes, sir. Yep. It would update it at that point. Wait a minute. It's not. Maybe some errors, but
Can
I
you
should
put
be able to.
formulas in the
Yes.
Can you put formulas in the SmartView?
Yes, you can. Yep, you can do that. You can change so that you can in the mode that I'm in right now is just data. So if I put a formula in and I hit refresh, it's going to change the formula to values. But you have different settings here where you could make it retain the formula in Excel. So there's lots of different settings that, again, it's not
That
training,
would,
but to give
would
you an idea what you can do. Lots of settings.
you can't re-import the formulas back into the form in Hyperion, right?
Yes. Yeah, the formula will not go into Hyperion. It would just be in this Excel form, in this Excel
Right. You
sheet.
just
Yeah.
get value in Hyperion.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh. So I
Okay.
can build a formula here, and then the result of that is what I can push back to the uh, to the cube, to your database. When you see these pound missing, this is just a SBase's way of saying this particular intersection in the cube is empty, because it makes a difference if something is empty versus if there's data there. So if that is not, you could change that. Let's see here. Okay, formatting. You could zero it out, so to speak. I'd have to look for that right now. I believe it's in here. Zero. If I go to here, okay, I'm lost right now, so I got to look for that. But yeah, you can change the look of this so that this would not be, it would just be shown as blanks. Anyway, so that's your quick introduction to SmartView. SmartView allows you to quickly use the system to also do data entry. So you can make the change on this form and then click on submit, and that would push that change over to your system, to your application model. Okay. Um, and then of course you can use that analyze button to convert it to an ad hoc type form, because this is the original form right here, and I clicked on analyze and it created this other form. So what this is useful for is if you want to create reconciliation analysis sheets, if you want to, you have some standard things that you need to have calculated. You could create templates that would run for you and be available, and your coordinator could attach that template to your work list as well, your task list. You can also take the result of these templates. Let's say you have a Word document where you do quarterly or annual reports for your budget package. You could take the result on any SmartView template that you have and link that result to that particular document that you are updating with some text paragraphs and so on. So and you can, of course, this is Excel, so you incorporate graphs and different styles of formatting that you need. Okay, so let's go back to any questions so far. So we talked about entering data in the system. Um, and I'm show you one more thing here. So um, what ifs, right? We talked about what ifs before, and so what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to go to another database so we can keep it clean. So here I have my budget scenario is budget. My version is working, and everyone's going to be working in the working version. Makes sense? So um, for this example, I have two amounts that I populated just to keep it simple. 10,999. And I'm going to click back to my task list as a budget prepare budget. And go back to the line item, enter budget. Okay. So I have my budget. I got two amounts here. I want to do some what ifs. So what I'm going to do now is show you how I could run a process. So I'll go in this other task here under data copy, and one of the process I have is to data copy from a scenario version in year. So I'll go ahead and, I know, before I do that, I'm going to go to another form where you can select a version, just to show you. Now it looks similar to the previous one, but the difference is here, the version is actually now a selectable item. So as you can see, working version is where it's at currently. I'm going to flip over to what if one. And what if one is a copy of working version because I previously copied it there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to working. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the third line here, and I want to enter 888. And again, just assume that, I've populated all 4 columns, not just this one, but this is just for illustration purposes. So I entered this 888 number under the working version. So I'm now going to do a data copy. I'm going to click launch. And here I have a prompt that says, okay, what do you want to copy from? So I'm copying from budget. And from what year? FY15. So what I can copy this to a different year if I want. So, but for now, I'm just going to stay in the same year. So now I'm going to go to what version. So it's working, I believe, is our source. So as you can see, I can select or I can type it in. It's really up to you. Just make sure you can spell it correctly if you're going to type it. And this one I'm going to select because what if one is a little bit longer to type. So I want to make sure it picks up the right description. What if one, that one right there.
So Dan, we have to type it in instead of picking from a down arrow?
You can type it in or you can select like what I'm doing right now. See,
Okay.
I highlighted it and then I'm going to click add. It would take it to the right and that would be selected just like that. And then I click on launch and that would run this process and it's done. So now I should be able to go back to my form by version. And if it worked, we should be able to switch now to what if one.
Dan, on any of these processes that you're showing us right now, are they real time or in real production? Will it be an overnight or a couple hours?
No, this is real time. You can do this. Yeah, because you're working in your own world. Your world here is your S001, your site 000. So anything you do there is only going to impact your particular site. So
How about when we have to add new accounts and will we have to add them into PeopleSoft first and then they will automatically come in, or how will that work?
Right. Just like anything with Hyperion, you could, in theory, you can add it in directly to Hyperion, but the process that we should follow, or we will follow, is that
in Iraq, 2 airstrikes west of Baghdad destroyed 2 ISIS army.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know where that came from. Hopefully you're muting.
Well, I'm not right now, but I have.
Okay, sorry. To answer your question, the proposed process is that all changes with regard to chart fields or chart field values or dimensions would be made in PeopleSoft, and then a process would be run by the coordinator to update your respective district application. So,
and that will be an overnight process?
That could be during the day, but the only thing is when you run that, you need to find a window of time during the day where people are not working in the system.
Okay.
Right? So, because it's updating dimensions is a major change in the application, so it's not a good idea to have people working or updating their budget. Okay. All right. So as you can see here, the what if one, my 888 88,888 got copied into what if one in that process. Um, that's what I have for you for this. So we talked about revenues and expenses, but one of the sub feeders to expense is position budgeting. And position budgeting, or HCP, human capital planning, is a separate um, piece to this that would feed into the line item budget. And the difference is in HCP, you have several additional chart fields that's only used for HCP, and that would be your position, your employee code, and then you also have job and so on. So it's going to be lots more data in the back end that it will track. It will also track FTEs, the number of full-time equivalents, head counts, and so on and so forth. So what we'll do now is we'll kind of talk about, let's go to positions.
I have another question
Yes.
about the page that you're on right now with the estimated actuals.
Okay.
So I understand that we will be able to copy, like, from the revised budget or whatever tool that we're using that we want to copy it in. We can do that.
Right.
And then we could also, it appears that we can make changes right here to what we're saying our estimated actuals are. Has it been decided or determined or worked out that then we could load what we have here for estimated actuals into the SAC software yet? Because there'd be no place in PeopleSoft to reload estimated actuals that we're working on here in Hyperion.
I'm trying to remember what our discussion was about that before. I'm drawing blanks. So this is regarding estimated actuals that you want to load changes you make here into the SAC software.
Dan, can I interrupt?
Sure, yeah.
So it's my understanding that this is something that is still being talked about or worked on. And so as soon as we have a more definitive information to pass out to everybody, we'll let everybody know.
Thank you, Leah.
Okay, great. And as in our prior discussions in our JAD sessions, we said we were going to make available the ability to seed your budget with adopted budgets, with a revised budget, as well as the actuals from PeopleSoft. So those are the three choices we have that we would be running at the coordinator level. Okay, so yes.
Hi, this is Olivia.
Yes.
On that same sheet that you're on, way at the bottom, is there a total?
Yeah, let's see. Better. Yeah, there. This is just revenue, so I got the total here. But
Okay.
you can have reports that would have, other totals, subtotals, if you will, depending on how your. Now, in this example, our plan is to use a roll-up that actually Leah is working on currently, and that's the SACS roll-ups. So that's what will be available to you. So I guess here in this says other local revenue, and I guess they have let's see here. Actually, this is following SACS, I think. And as you can see, this form has all of those items available. You can also have this form with just the rows with data in it. So this is pretty much it's complete. It's a complete list of all the available accounts for District 99. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to this. I was in my test, my District 10 database there. So I'm going to go back to 99. So here in this grid, in this form, you see where data is not editable, it's gray. Okay? This will also show you that, here I have in our previous discussions, we had discussed having the ability to enter overtime as a line item. So we made that happen. So you see this Medicare number, and then below that 3321000, and then um, you also have an M under it. That means that's a manually entered and calculated amount based on a formula that we can edit um, with different percentage rates. Um, okay, so let's talk about position budgeting. So position budgeting in the system is really made up of two groups of positions. One is existing positions, which would come from the PeopleSoft system. Existing positions would be initially what we would call your baseline data. So in your business process, we start with a baseline budget. Well, the position data is going to be based from your existing position today. And then in addition to that, then you would be able to add new positions or delete or terminate or transfer positions and so on. You can step increment and adjust the salaries and so on. Um, so most recently, we sent out a form where we asked you to complete some default information that would allow you to budget for new positions for specific jobs. Um, so with that, you have the ability to budget. As you know, you can budget to a specific HR job. You know, the J underscore here that you see are real jobs set up in the HR system. We also define what we call pseudo jobs that could represent kind of a more generic job coding scheme. And as you can see there, we have what? Certificated greater than zero point 0.5 FTE, certificated hourly, certificated management, teacher, and so on. And then we have classified daily, hourly, overtime, and so on. So you have the ability to either budget at the very discrete, very detailed level based on very detailed defaults, or you could budget based on generic defaults. And so you can have it both ways. It's every district can have their respective sets of defaults. So this is what in this example I took the template that we sent out to you, and so far, by the way, we've only received two back from the districts. We got Coronado back and from Olivia, the county office. Um, so here, I pre-populated some just for the purpose of this demo. So I selected some of these pseudo jobs right here, as you can see, and then uh, against that, I selected some salary schedule and ranges with a corresponding step, and that pulled up the default rate in here. And then I said, okay, I'm going to use these two for our example today. I'm going to follow this classified hourly job JM2CL03. The next sheet to this is the benefits defaults. As you can see, I did an example here of one, two, three, four, 5 jobs. And then I created defaults against these jobs based on the benefit for medical, dental, vision, and life insurance, and created some overrides, just as we discussed from 2 weeks ago. Okay, and let's see, the other one I also created some additional pays or earnings, additional earnings, and here I populated this element account defaults. And if you haven't done this yet, this one, of all of the sheets in this package, this is the one that you would need to complete for every benefit and additional pay item that you would be budgeting on. Okay. This one we need to have
So Dan, just
populate.
everybody know.
Mm-hmm.
So contrary to what it was my belief that you could turn in this default template as blank, it turns out that this specific tab, the element account default, that part needs to be filled out by the districts. So I'm going to follow up with an email after this meeting to let you guys know that this is a change.
Okay. And again, all. Go ahead.
Every single. What?
For every.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
What are we required to put on this template?
So
on this template, you would need to select, just like Dan is showing right now, the additional pay benefits and employer tax, because you need to select your account segment, which is equivalent to your object code. So there is a default within the Hyperion system in case the account chart field is not entered into Hyperion. It does need a default.
When would we ever not have it entered into Hyperion?
Well, just in case during like your data entry, one of the users forgets to enter it.
Well, I mean, to me, all the benefits would be automatically calculated and wouldn't be entered. That they would just be putting in the
code.
Either the salary string or the hourly, and then all the benefits would calculate, and we wouldn't have any benefits on here.
Well, the district would have to fill this part out and submit this template in this manner, so that if you want your benefits to be
I want all my benefits to calculate based on putting in the salary, not based on this default.
That is what this is going to do. So this list right here, these are the different benefits that I intend to budget on, and this is the corresponding object code that I'm setting up, so that when I submit my budget, it would populate this object code in my budget line item. That's what this is.
With a rate or a percentage? Where do the related rates and percentages
Oh, the rates.
go?
The rate is you don't have. Yeah, that's pulled up for you here on this right here. So
then I don't understand why we would need that information in both places.
Well, this one is the rate. The other one is the object code. See, there's no rate here. It's just the object code. And you could easily take this, control copy it, using Excel, and then just paste it here and then put in your object code. That's all.
So Gina, this tab defaults the account code object, the object.
Okay,
Correct.
That would have been the same place where we had the rates. Basically, it's these benefits, it's these objects, and it's these rates.
Right. That's it. And what this is up above here is it if later when you're doing you budget for a new position, and this gets pulled up, of course, because of your default, and then you decide, well, I want to add another one that's not even on that list, and then you come up with some other rate, for instance. Now, if you selected this and it doesn't exist in this list, then at the time of budgeting, it would use one of the three here, depending. If it's a benefit, then it's going to use whatever you set up for this. So this one here is kind of like a catch-all object
But
code.
I wouldn't want that. I would want to have to define exactly what object that new one goes to and not have a default.
Good point. That's why that's why it's better for you to just go ahead and define all of the benefits that you need, and then define your codes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because we wouldn't want it to ever default into something else.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Just the system needs to have it because it needs to assign an account before it sends it over to the budget, the line item budget piece. So, all right, and then this one, there's a last one here, just for clarification. The salary allocation. So you have the ability to split fund your position to the nth degree, right? So you can go, as long as your column here for percentage allocation is 100%, you could split this up 10 different ways to 10 different chart string combinations. okay, as your default. But for most of you, you'd probably want one chart string like this and then edit it on the fly when you add positions. So, and that's what we're going to do today. So,
I'm sorry, Dan, can you back up on that?
okay,
In this chart string, so there's nothing in this chart string that points it to a specific position at this point.
correct. This is only for this district, right? So that means whenever I add a new position, it would assign this chart string, and then you can change it. Now, yeah, that's it. So you can change every single cell here is updatable at the point of when you're budgeting for positions.
It needs to relate to a specific position because my chart fields will be different for most positions.
Correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but it's my understanding on the salary allocation tab. So, Dan, can they leave this blank so then when a new position is added into the Hyperion system, then the user would just go in and complete the chart fields or the
Yes.
salary allocation at that time?
Yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
So
Correct.
just to let everybody know, on this particular tab, the salary allocation tab, because I understand that everybody is not going to want to budget every single new position to only one chart string, then go ahead and leave this tab blank, and then when you go to add the new position in Hyperion, you'll select the chart field string at that time.
Right.
In the Hyperion system itself.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
Right. Okay, great. So with that, I'll jump back to our default salary here. And again, I'm going to focus on the last one on this list, classified hourly. So I'm going to hop back into our application and looking at, 99A. Okay, so I need to be in 99. And I'm going to want to be in my task list. And let's see here. There we go. Prepare and review. And again, I'm seeing all of the task lists because I'm an administrator. Okay, so down here I have maintained positions. I have a little instruction thing here. You can add new positions, fill existing positions with new hires, so on. So there's some instructions. So I'll click on the action to navigate to that form. So when I see this form, you will see the two sets of data I was talking about, existing positions and new positions. Now, I've been playing in this form to have some data here. Here I preloaded positions, existing positions from the system. Okay, of course, I manipulated this from the system because this is not the real positions for this site, for this district, but just for this demo, I just wanted to show you, how it would appear. Of course, you have your familiar position number, name, position type, and then the job, and there's our pseudo jobs. You have your location code here is not upper unit dimension or chart field in financials. This is the HR location. It's a different code in the HR PeopleSoft HR system, and I'm not sure you may or may not be using that for your particular district. That depends on how your your human capital management is set up. Union code is, of course, your bargaining unit. Let's see. There's annual salary spread. This will spread the salary based on whatever that particular position is set up for. Such as 10 months would mean you're spreading from June, July, September, right? From September to June, and so on. Of course, you got your FTE here. So here I'm going to just navigate to one of the ones that I've added earlier, and then we'll actually add one just so you can see the look and feel of it as you add. I'm going to select the last one at the bottom here. I'm going to just right-click it. In the right-click, it presents another set of menus and some of these are what we call business rules. This is out-of-the-box functionality in human capital planning. So here what I'm going to do is, well, initially I added that position, so now I'm going to go edit the position so I can show you the details of this position. Well, what details? That would be the salary amount, the any additional pay or benefits that would have been picked up by the system from the Excel spreadsheets that we loaded here originally. See, so in this example, I used I added the JM2 CLO3 job, which is this last item here. Okay, and in the general tab, you see the same information that you saw earlier. Down below here, you see the dollar amounts. Okay, and there you go. Year total, basic salary expense is 35,110. That is this number right here. So now, because this is an 11-month position, it starts from August. So that amount divided by 11 is spread this way. Now, so let's look at the other tabs here so you can see. Of course, there's no employee assigned to that because it's a vacant position. I'll jump into FTE. FTE.
And how come there's benefit expense in July with no salary?
Because when I added it, I used 7.1. I should have just used 8.1, and then that would have knocked this off. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you can adjust for that. Okay, my position is my proposed FTE is 1. I could put in 2 or 3 or whatever many. So if I need 5 math teachers, I don't have to add it 5 times. I can create one new position, math teacher, and say 5 FTE, right? Status changes. What this is tracks anything I do with this particular position as I make changes. If I update the salary based on from July 1st. I'm sorry, from January 1st. Then it would kind of keep a running log of changes that I'm making. The salary grade is of course, your base salary. So by adding this, it picked up from this spreadsheet that we loaded. Okay, that's where it puts in this 35,110, and that same number is repeated in the override option. And the difference is, you can see this is gray, and this is editable. So that's why you can override, because in our discussions we said, yes, we want to allow our budget preparers to change the salary. If you don't, then you can change it for your district if you don't want them to change it, right? But again, that number, it comes from this Excel spreadsheet that we put in. Okay, so and there's my start date, because when I put that in, I said 7/1. Additional earnings.
Is there another way to have the salary come in off the salary schedules rather than off this tab? If we create a new position and we say it's this salary grade in steps, can it just come in from HCM that way rather than from this tab, or is that another option?
This is what's out of the box. If we change that, that would be a customization. It would be a huge customization.
Then
So,
can we maybe have IT or somebody feed that in rather than us going and typing in every single salary for every single?
No, you're not typing this. No, this was fed in for you because we loaded this in. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of the spreadsheet that we gave you. Is in the future it will just feed off of this sheet, feed off of that data.
Okay, but for a new position, the data we can choose, we don't have to type it into the spreadsheet. The data we can use is what gets in from HCM.
Yeah, once it's loaded, once it's here, we just choose it. And what I'll do is, after we go through this walkthrough, I will add a new position for you so you can kind of see the actual clicks and things that you're going to need to do. Okay.
And Dan, and what if that job code is not on the spreadsheet?
You can add another. You can pick out another job code, because the list that you'll see is the full list. And if there's no default on it, then you just won't have any dollar amount. Then you can add it in manually.
Okay.
Yeah. So the whole purpose of this is to make your job easier during budget preparation. So the more you put in here as your default, the less work you have to do later in the back end when you're budgeting, in real time, right? So this is prep work right here. Okay, so what else do we have here? Okay, this just tells you that this particular salary is going to be added to your gross pay for tax calculation and so on. Benefits, again, will be picked up from your default sheets. Those are 3 benefits that I have. If we go to this tab here, there's my 3 benefits that I created for this particular job, CL203, right? And there you go, 1045, 163, and 9. There it is. And again, if I don't like that here, I can go ahead and make the change. Because we said we want to allow the person to make the change, right? Allow value change right there. Okay, so tax is tax. Of course, this is not the employee tax, but it's the ER, the employer portion of the tax. And again, that's picked up from up here. Here in your sheet, we said these are the tax rates that's going to get calculated. And here, notice that I purposely left this applicable job blank, because if you leave it blank, it will use this for every position, for every job that you create. It would assign this type of rate. So just to show you. So that's how that is. And then that allocation, see, it applies it to here in the back end. Now, if you don't like that, you can go ahead and now reassign it to a different account that you wish to use. And let's see here.
Where's the FTE? Is there a FTE on this line or a percent split?
It's that. Okay, there's the list. Okay, so the percent split is at right here. See, it's 100%. So what you do is, if you want to add, if you have multi lines in here, you can add an additional allocation line, and then do an 80-20, for instance, right? Okay, so so the result of all of this up here is dollarized down here in this grid. So there's the split of your salaries, your benefits, and taxes, and then the grand total. Okay, so now we'll come back to the beginning, and then we'll, because this one I pre-added, so just so we can talk about it. But now we'll actually go through and add a new one. Okay, just so you can see the actual clicks. Okay. So now I'm going to add a position. I'm going to right-click anywhere on this left side, and I would be presented with this list of action items. So I'm going to add a position. And adding a position would activate this rule, and it would give me a prompt. This prompt will have several items there that I'm expected to complete. Now, it pre-types the information that I had there previously. So if you're doing multiple positions, it will retain the text that was there, and then you can simply edit it. Now, the position name and position number, this is a free-form field. So it doesn't care what you put in here. It's more informational for you, because quite frankly, this is not a position that exists yet in HR. So you can put in here, what you think the position number is going to be. If you have a specific numbering scheme, you can certainly use that. Position type will default to single incumbent, but or you can choose pooled or shared. And again, we can give you a definition of what these things are. For the job, this is where now I'm going to select. As you can see, I got my list of real jobs, J underscores. But I'm going to go to the bottom here, and I'm going to select, I believe it's classified hourly. That's what we said, right? Yeah, classified hourly. Okay, so there we go. And then I want to put our FTE in 1, or you can do more if you need, if you're asking for more people. 7-1. So here, this time I'm going to say 8 now, because just to show. See. Okay, so okay, for union code. Now here when when we roll this out, I'm going to scrub this, so you will only see the bargaining unit that pertains to your district. So here I'm going to use T1899, and this is an old list, so I'm going to say no location. I'll click add. So that's it. So once I add, what it's going to do now is going to go behind the scenes and pull all of this default right on for that position. So it's going to create the next position number, which is position 12. There's the K3 that I just did. So I'm going to click on that and right click again. And I'm going to click edit position details, just like I did earlier. And notice down here, there's no dollar amount yet, okay? Because we got to do a couple of things. So, but here we have our position start date 8/1. Okay, I have my FTE count is 1, so it would be repeated here. And then now the salary grade, which again I never entered, it pulled it in. See, there's a 35, and there's my 35,110. Just to confirm, that's that number. Okay. Let's look at benefits. And there you go. So let's say at this point I go, well, for this particular position, I really want to add one more thing. So I'm going to go and right click it here. I want to say add a benefit. So now I'll get a list of benefits that pertains to just my district. So here, okay, it says select benefit amount. So I click on this little drop down. So I get a prompt. And then I see element. Element, by the way, is where everything lives for benefits and taxes and things. So I'm going to go to the very bottom here. I'm going to pick out, I think, one of your benefit, your SD Life. I'll pick out an SD Life 2, then 20. So, and I don't think I have a rate for this, but I'll go ahead and pick that off. SD Life, okay. Click OK. And option, that should be a none, but anyway, I'll just select employee only. 1. Well, there you go. It will tell you if you don't enter correct date, so okay. So that added it, and of course I was right. I didn't have a rate for that, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and override it, and I'll put an amount. Let's say $100.
Dan, do you
Okay.
have to do all these to bring down the salary grade, bring down the benefits, bring down the tax? Do you have to do all those?
No, you don't.
Or
No, I'm just walking you through. You can go directly to this page and then hit calculate. So what I'm going to do, yeah, I'm just going through the motion of showing you, but you don't have to. If you already trust that it will have all the right defaults in there after you've been using it a while, you don't need to do any of the stuff. Right after you add, you just simply go directly to calculate. So I'll click on calculate, and then we got one more step, so I'll just do that. Now, I don't have to calculate for each and every position. I'm doing it just for you now, but you can wait to do all of this calculation after you've added your 20 positions that you want to budget on. So notice when I did that, it populated the amounts here, okay, accordingly. And Now, all that calculates, it took the annualized numbers and the monthly numbers, and it spreads it out to all of the periods based on your 11-month type. The next thing is we're going to, again, run another process. It's called allocate. So allocate compensation budgets to GL accounts. So what that is going to do is it's going to go to that allocation tab that we had 100% written on, and it will now take those dollars and put them in their respective allocation buckets of chart strings. Only at this point is this really ready to go and send over to your budget, line item budget, so that it can be rolled up into to the rest of the budget amounts. So there you go. So that's adding a position. So
Hey, Dan, I saw on there where it says, on one of those tables, it said vacant.
Yes.
I didn't see where you typed that in or where you told them it was vacant or where you could put in a name if you've got someone in that position.
Yes, good question. When you add a position, the employee ID that it's going to assign to it is vacancy. Because when you're adding a position, it's obviously vacant. It hasn't been filled yet. So filling a position is a separate step in the process. So, and there is I believe it's in here. Let's see if I can click it here. Oh, that's in a separate form. Sorry. So yeah, there's a step where you can associate an employee to a position. Okay. We have a series of testing that we're going to do. I don't want to go through that today for you, but yeah, that's one of the steps. Do you anticipate doing this, the filling positions for vacant positions during the budget cycle?
All the time.
Okay. All right. That certainly is available to you. Yes. Now, so going through this process, there's so that's the basic process to add a position, and with that, let's talk about how you're going to see all of this. So let's look at some reporting options, right? So here I have several out of the box review forms that you can see. Let's look at this: review position budgets. By the way, over to the left, you can see this calculate and allocate. So it's all here. So you can do your position budgeting first, and then when you're done, you can do one calculate process. So you don't have to do that for each and every one. So here is a quick list of the positions that, in this case, that I've added and have dollars on. And this is a quick snapshot of what the numbers look like. You got totals here, and then you got a total dollars by position. This one is, let's look at, we don't have employee associated yet, so let's look at elements. This one is pretty busy, but kind of cool. So this one will go by position. It will give you a breakdown of the salary, the benefits, the taxes, the additional pay on an item by item basis. So if you're one of those that love a lot of detail, this gives you tons of detail. So if I scroll down to the very bottom, okay, there's our new position 12. And as you can see there, July is empty. Then it starts with August. And every item here that we selected, there's that SD Life that I added in addition to what was defaulted. It defaulted the 3 items, and I added that 4th item on the fly and put in the amount that I wanted, which is $100. There it is. Okay. Another type of report that you could run. This is just right off of the forms, okay, and so you could view it from here. Show you the basic reporting, like your your pre what do you it would be your canned reports, if you will. So the way you would run canned reports is, it could be several ways. One is we can make that available here as one of the task list items that you can click on, and then it would just run the report. Or if you have numerous reports, which most people would, eventually you'll accumulate all kinds of reports in your system. You click on Explorer, and in Explorer it would open up another tab here, and you'll have folders. So in this case, I have a folder for our District 99, and so District 99, and under Human Capital Planning, I have some reports. So I'm going to run this one, Position Costing. Actually, I already ran one here earlier, but I'll just run one now again, so kind of give you an idea of how reports run. So here I'm running on site 000, or you can hit this drop down and then select from the list, right? So here I already know it's just one, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And this is just a canned report. We can rearrange this if we need to, update the report so it'll look more like the ones that you're used to. So this is a list of my positions. Now these are the existing positions. I have yet to enter the details, so you're seeing blanks here. But in the real report, you will have all the respective information such as FTE, salary, benefits from existing positions. And then these are the new positions where it says test. There's my FTE count. There's my dollars for each of those buckets, of dollars. It's not working yet, but there's a very handy button here. It says export in query mode. So what this is when you click on it, it would pull up another smart view. Similar to when I pulled up a form earlier, this could be pulled into a smart view Excel form. So if you need to maybe reproduce this report with a slightly different, subtotal or some other format, then, you'll have that ability to do. All the reports can be exported out as web forms such as this, or it could be a PDF form, so you could save that into PDF. You can also create a book using the tools of Hyperion, and in the book you can create like a table of contents and pull, all the different reports you want in a book, including Excel spreadsheets that you might want to produce from external systems and so on, and make it part of a book. So, and that's what they call the budget book functionality. So you could customize these different groups of reports, basically is what it is. So once you have it, then you can just click on one and it would run all those related types of report that you have available. It's 2:28. Our meeting is from 1 to 3, and we're at a point where we pretty much shown you, what we have in mind to go over with you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah,
I do.
Pam, I've written down a few questions before she left another meeting. So
okay, let's go for it.
Okay, the first one was, is the approval process required for budget to load and get into PeopleSoft? In clarity, we asked that everybody do the approval and push it forward, but if they didn't, we still loaded it into, it still was part of the budget, whether they approved it or not.
Yes.
Okay.
You can enable it or disable it, and if you have it on, an approval process is really a process. It's a business process. So you can all you're doing is you're tagging your planning units, your sites, your budget centers as having been approved or not, and then it's you still control what's going to go over to your commitment control system. So
okay, so we would be able to do everything regardless of whether it had been approved or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what was the time frame for testing starting and ending? Do you guys know yet?
Well, there's several types of testing. We have unit testing is going to be our first one, and that's coming up, I believe, about a week from today. And that the purpose of that is to kind of go through the functionality again, review these task lists, make sure review it for completeness. Uh, and we're still, completing some of these things. I'm still writing reports as we speak. So it's still, we're still very much a work in progress. But the unit testing is to kind of understand it.
Dan, I think they're most interested in user acceptance testing when
Okay.
they're going to come in and do some testing.
Okay, that's
right, Gina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leah, do you have the calendar? I don't have it in front of me here, but our user acceptance, I believe, is sometime in November, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
end of November, beginning of December for now. As soon as we have the date, the exact date nailed down, I'm going to be sending out information on this to each of the districts and when you're scheduled for the user acceptance testing.
So before that, then there'll be a schedule for the actual hands-on training prior to that user acceptance?
That's
that
the plan.
part, I'll have to ask Perry what she's planning for the training.
Okay, so that's a CRC training will happen hopefully first?
Yeah, that would definitely be our plan because you can't really test until you've had some training. So that would be that's our plan.
And then our question is, what kind of data will we be training with when we're not yet up on HCM? So will there be some other data that will be fed in there for us to do the user acceptance testing with and do the training with? Because I'm not sure what that data would be.
Yeah, for you guys, for county office, you'll kind of be like Oceanside's also coming on. So we'll be pulling information out of Legacy for them, for the payroll. So we would do the same thing for county office.
Full info from Legacy.
Yeah.
That's where we'll do it. Okay, and then the question on when we really do go live on all of this, is it where we would have to wait for January payroll to run to feed it in, or can we do it January, 8th, or do you guys know yet whether we can do it, whether we have to wait for payroll to run or not?
By the time we are pulling information in for, like final info, your data will likely already be in HCM, so it should be current, but, we'll have to see how that shakes out.
Okay. Because we would also want to have it update for the salary increase in January and all the new benefit rates, or who's on, whether it pulls in what benefit plans all the employees choose after open enrollment for January. So just be on the radar for.
Okay.
And then we'll be doing actual salaries, not average salaries, correct?
For existing positions, yes.
And then, let's see, what else does she have? Also, do you guys know when we were talking about estimated actuals and using one of those scenarios or what-ifs for estimated actuals, is there a way that can get loaded into the financials, into PeopleSoft, like under their projected ledger, for using it for estimated actuals or the projected ledger?
We're looking at options for that. We have a working budget solution that we're just finishing up, so that we may be able to use something there.
Okay.
So, but we know that there needs to be, there's a desire for something for estimated actuals. So we're definitely, that's on our radar.
Okay. Did I cover all Pam's questions? I guess if I find something else here that I missed, I'll just email you guys.
All right, great.
Okay, good. And how about the roll-up? Is there going to be a roll-up table that you're going to be working on?
And Olivia, what roll-up are you referring to? Which dimension?
Well, if you have revenues rolling up or expense accounts rolling up to a particular revenue account, roll-ups like that?
Expense rolling up to revenue?
Or resources, you may have several
Oh,
resources
okay.
clean
Okay.
up. We probably have a few, but will we be setting up a template?
Oh, Olivia, are you talking things about things like migrant ed?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a good example.
Yeah. Yeah, we can, as far as resources go and objects, you know, we can put a subtotal into the tree, and we can put a subtotal for the migrant ed and then some details below it. So make sure that we know any roll-ups like that you need, because you'll have like migrant ed and outdoor ed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we may have some special ed.
Yeah, so we can work with the trees. That all comes in on the trees, right, Dan?
Yes, yes. You control the tree structure, so.
Right.
Well, the coordinator controls the tree structure?
Mm.
Or is that?
I don't know. We don't know who's going to control that yet.
Okay.
But it can be, you know, made to include subtotals that you need. That's why we have a unique tree set for each district, just for things like that.
Okay. One more question. On your demo, we saw where you added a new position, and it was actually for an hourly person. And what we had wanted was to be able to add the hourly salary amount on the regular expense template and have it just calculate the benefits and have it on the expense template rather than adding a position associated with it. Will we still have that?
The overtime? Yeah.
Overtime and hourly, unlimited term hourly.
Okay, yeah. Well, I have, in our discussion, in our JAD session, we talked about adding an overtime amount on the line item and having it calculate all the related taxes and so on.
And we would do that for limited term as well.
Okay, so that's in addition to what we have. So let's talk about it. Can we take that one offline so we can see what the extent is of that calculation?
Yeah, because we had that from the get-go, had identified that we did not want to add the hourly as a position. We wanted to do it as an expense line item.
Okay, so let me show you that. So let me show you what we have, and then we can talk about if this is something.
We can do it offline too if everybody doesn't want to.
Well, I think it's good information, right, for everyone here. Let's go look at expense. Let's go enter expense. And this one, I think, Olivia, you provided the calculations for this. So I just, okay, so here, you see this teacher contracted extra day. So I created two roll-ups, one coming from HCP, which is the position budgeting system, and then the one with an M, which is the manually entered one, right? So here, I could enter these amounts as I choose, and where you see the M right here, okay? And if I now scroll to of course, wherever there's an M here, because there's a list of those that we have set up. Now in the benefits here, you'll see it would appear here. One second. Yeah, the grace. Okay, so here, the Medicare, this account. So we have formulas that actually calculate based on those items that I entered over there in the M items. So, okay, so that's how that works. So that was based on your overtime example of being able to key in overtime dollars as separate line items. Now, what you're talking about, is that another type of item that you want to be able to enter in addition to overtime, or can that be handled in that same way?
I think it can be handled in that same way. I'm just not sure if you have the subs in there. You'd have to scroll back up.
Yeah, okay, sure. Can you tell me specifically which account that might be, or what object code?
It'd be in the Well, let me
One?
look here.
Is it a 1 series or a 2?
Actually, it's
Could be either one.
yeah, it could be either one.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you've covered here. Well, you've got overtime and extra help, but probably a lot of times it would go in with the extra help, right, Olivia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's why. So it is there. Yeah. So because I modeled it exactly based on Olivia's example on a spreadsheet. So
Yeah, I think you've got it.
okay, there you go.
Okay, Dan, I still have yet to see you adding a new position if we didn't default a job code.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's do that now. We got 20 minutes, so we can to maintain position. And as you know, in our default, I created just the pseudos, right? So let's add a position and purposely choose a regular job, right? So we know there's no default against it. So let's do that. So on the left side, I right click again and I say add position, and it's going to call it up. It's going to use the same text from last time, so I'm just going to go ahead and edit this accordingly. So I'm going to go, we'll say L, and I want to say job with no default. How's that? Okay, incumbent, single incumbent, and I'm going to, all right, I'll select teacher LAC. How's that?
Okay.
All right, 1 FTE, 81, and put in the bargaining unit with no location, and add. Okay, so I added it in, go to the bottom. It should now be 13, there it is. Of course, it's just a shell, right? Because there's nothing yet. So I'm going to go into edit details. And of course, we got my grid here, is nothing yet. If I go jump directly to salary grades, there won't be any. Okay, so what do I need to do? So then I could right click, add salary information. And then I would go in and select my salary grade. So this assumes you know what grade to choose, so select your grade. So help me out. Can I just choose any one? Why not, right? I'll just select the first one.
Choose anyone.
Okay. And sequentially blank. We'll just do step 1. Add it. There. So see how it pulled that, whatever, assuming I know what I just selected there, and that should be my expectation. So then it pre-populated this with this amount. And if I don't agree with that, then I can change it. I'll just say 993. Okay.
For the county, we choose not to change anything.
Okay, you can do that. But in this setup, so in your spreadsheet, remember this? So you want to say no to this. Just
Yeah, that's what
type
we
no,
did.
and then yeah, okay, perfect. Then that would be, this would be gray if you did it that way. I'll just go ahead and, it would be the same way for benefits. So when I go into benefits, I have no defaults to it, so then I'd have to manually select what benefits. So I'm just going to add one, just for illustration.
But no, if we had the defaults are the benefits, would they come in even
Yeah,
though we're not
yeah. Yep,
salary, but the benefits are all on that
you got it.
spreadsheet?
Yeah,
Grab them.
if you put in a benefit here with not a specific job, then it would just pick up that benefit as your default.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll yeah, it shows the previous selection. So I'll select one of the Kaisers, I guess. Let's see. So Kaiser, and then a one. By the way, a one is certificated. A two is classified. So it's the same code, but with a one and a two. So I don't know what I just created. So I'll just select two. I assume you guys know the codes. And then I could select the option. I'll say employee only or family. How's that? Employee plus family. I hope there's a code for that. I mean, there's a rate for that. There should. Oh, that one does not exist. So, okay, so that's a bad choice. So anyway, but it would, if they were in that list, then it would, we would just simply add it here. And then the rest for the taxes and so on. I think you get the picture, right? You right click and add that item. And right now I'm just going to go ahead and hit right click calculate just to show you what dollar it's going to create. And it's going to be based on that salary that we just pulled up and then modified at the same time. So hopefully that would. Oh, I didn't save it. Yeah, that's fine. Save it. So I made a change. Yeah, there it is. All right, so there's my newly added position using a job that was not defaulted.
Okay, I can see where the defaults speed up the process.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's one of those that it's a little bit of pain in the beginning, saves you a lot of pain in the end. So.
But then we would have to determine each class code and determine what salary range they're at, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's how the system.
So if we have 1,000, so we need to put 1,000 job codes in here and define each salary range.
Well, because I thought that's why we came out with these pseudos, right? The pseudos is supposed to give you more generic type of codes and then come up with a generic range. So it's kind of, where do you want to be? Do you want to be generic? You want to be very detailed, or you want to be somewhat detailed but not too, not too generic?
We want to be very detailed, so I think we would stick with what you just demonstrated, and we'd have to have them put in that class range and step, and have then that calculate the salaries, and then we would always default the benefits.
Yep.
That's how we do it today.
Yeah, the benefit really works fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and again, I've given you an Excel tool, so you can do, the Excel copy paste. So data entry should be pretty rapid. And then once you have it, this has behind the scenes hidden sheets that I'm going to use now to load this into the system. So,
I mean, right now we need the salary schedules that will be on in January, and then we'll have to make increases for the following year. Aren't even out there yet for us to do this. That's why it's saying real time we would want them to put in the salary range and step, but we would definitely want all of the benefits to come in automatically.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Was this helpful for you? I mean, did this give you kind of what you were expecting for a demo today?
This last part especially.
Yes. Okay. Good. Good.
That's good. Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Okay, so can we turn the meeting over and give Shauna some time on retiree benefits? Is this a good time?
Okay. Um, you don't need me to keep the recording on, right? I can turn off the recorder right now?
No. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.